Shop the Sherwin-Williams sale and get 30% off Duration, Superdeck, and Woodscapes products August 14th through the 24th. Whether you're refreshing your interior or exterior, we've got the colors to bring your vision to life. And with delivery, getting everything to your door is easier than ever. Shop online to have it delivered or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details. Delivery available on qualifying orders.
Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
You're listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast network.
You are listening to the FinFans podcast, where we discuss everything Miami Dolphins. It's the off season, and we're looking forward to a fresh new start under different management in 2026. We hope you'll join us and enjoy the show. And it's another FinFans podcast. With me today are the Ragones, Chris and Lewis. How are you, Lewis?
Good. Even after an extremely boring football game last night, but 1 week closer. That's the way I look at it, to seeing real football. I hate preseason with a passion, so otherwise I'm doing great. But go ahead.
It has its purpose. Chris, how are you?
Doing good. Dolphins football's back. Last night was not really what we wanted to see, but I guess it's something we got to get used to, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's go back. Hold on. Let's go back to what Mike just said a minute ago. It serves its purpose. Now, among the three of us, you guys tell me what purpose last night served, because it sure didn't serve a lot of purpose in my
experience. That's about all you can take from it.
And that's it. Exactly. It's there, and more than likely a lot of these guys, won't even be on the roster when the time comes. But that was my take from it. And you're looking at it and you're like, man, oh man, we couldn't really evaluate the quarterbacks, right? The receivers,
I know I'm going to be alone on this, Lewis, but I thought that Cam did a pretty good job. That was the best we've seen him. He looked relatively poised. It wasn't a good situation around him. I was not that disappointed in his play. I'm not saying he was great or anything like that, but he looked as good as we've seen him look. That's the way I would phrase it.
Yeah. Watching both of them, Gronowski as well, if you just watch them and you see how they come, off the football once they got the football in their hands, Gronowski seems like he's at a quicker pace, right? Once he gets the football and he's doing his reads and he takes off and runs, he just plays a faster football game. So when I looked at both of them, Cam Miller reminded me more of Ewers, right?
Yeah.
Gronowski was more like a Malik Willis, if you can follow me on that. Yeah. Just watching him, he just plays faster.
Mechanics. Yeah.
And so, looking at, obviously Gronowski had, I think, 1 yard passing. It was, that's ridiculous. You're not really getting an opportunity to evaluate anybody. You had the majority of backups in and stuff. So, it's kind of hard, It really is. Yeah. Go ahead. You guys were both going to say something, I think.
Chris, go ahead.
I kind of agree with Fink on the Cam Miller. He had a few drops, but, for the most part, I thought he looked pretty well. Our backup offensive line is just terrible. We weren't really able to get the run game going at all. I know Ollie had a pretty nice run. There was a few nice runs that got called back because of holding. One of them was on Charlie Heck. The other one, I believe, was on Jalen Tolbert. We just didn't really see much. One thing I did like on Gronowski, he only had 9 yards rushing, and I'm talking about the 9-yard run he had, but it was like a designed quarterback run. And, that's something that he did a lot in college. So, I mean, I think if Malik goes down and we have to look at either one of these guys or even Quinn Ewers, it's not going to be pretty. But,
No.
I kind of like what you guys just said about Gronowski playing faster. I kind of agree with that. I mean, they're different types of quarterbacks. I mean, like I said, Gronowski did run a lot in college. So, I mean, he can offer you something there, but I mean, the offensive showing was just terrible. And, the defense wasn't much better. I mean, I know we rested a lot of guys, which was kind of interesting, but Hafley came out and said, the starters got a good amount of work in this week in the joint practices, so he felt that they didn't have to go. So, it kind of was what it was. I mean, I wasn't expecting that many guys to sit, but, I mean, when, Ewers goes down and Cam Miller's your starting quarterback for the first half, I think we all kind of knew what kind of game it was going to be,
Yeah.
Yeah. And, the fact that Winston, played a whole half basically, right? Didn't he play the whole first half? I mean, they had guys like
21 attempts.
Yeah, that's like and one half.
Yeah.
So, so they were throwing the ball out. I mean, they ran the ball. I mean,
ran all over us too,
Singletary and Tracy, who basically became starters when Scatterbo went down last year, they kind of mixed it up. They had 14 carries. I mean, they were playing a whole half too. It wasn't like the Giants, said, all right, you know what? They've got, their whole backup team in. We're basically approaching this not with a quarter, but a whole half of, all of these veteran players. So, Slayton was in a lot. I mean, he's been a starter for them. I mean, they had, Austin the third, played quite a bit. Odell Beckham. I mean, I know he's on the tail end, but I mean, my God, he was playing into the third quarter. So, with all that being said, you kind of knew it was going to be that sort of game, but you would have liked for them to compete a little bit better than what they did. At least the guys that were out there and were getting evaluated.
3 first downs wasn't enough for you, Lewis?
A total of 100 yards offense, Mike. 102 yards total offense. Our 2 best plays of the game, as Chris mentioned, where Ollie Gordon runs.
Yeah.
And they both got called back due to penalty. But and he got hurt in the process, which is something that, you don't want to see, because in my opinion, he's running the football much better than Wright is at this point.
Wright had that fumble last night too, which
is
not
bad fumble.
His case. I did forget to say though, Kevin Coleman had a nice 30. Had a 30-yard catch down the sideline, and it was a play where the defender was draped all over him. They actually called pass interference on that, so that was good. I mean,
kind of like the week before.
Yeah, he got 5 targets in that. I think the first couple drives before they pulled him. So I mean, he's somebody we've talked about. I mean, I think he's gonna be a nice piece for us as a fourth wide receiver, and just somebody that is gonna be a nice slot guy for us.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, these young guys are basically going to be, and it's going to be an influx of young guys, I think, because Tutu was just horrible. I mean, he dropped a couple passes. He ran the ball soft on his little, end around, his one run. He just ran basically for the sideline. So, you're looking at these guys and you're like, man, I mean, these 3 rookies are going to be a big part, Bell, Douglas, and Coleman, I think, are all, along with Malik. Those are your 4. And what did we keep last year? 5 or 6? How many did we have week to week?
I think 5.
Was it 5 or was it 6? I can't remember.
I'm sure it changed from week to week, but
yeah, I mean, so Tolbert, you would assume, is going to make the team as well. So there's your 5 right there. I mean, I just can't see Tutu Atwell jumping over any of those receivers right now from what I've seen of him and what I'm seeing of them. All right. So, with all that being said,
Taj fumbled a punt return last night too.
Yeah,
which,
felt bad.
didn't help his case either.
No. Right at the end of the game too. So it was one of the last plays of the game, right? With less than 2 minutes, we couldn't even get on the field to run a 2-minute drill. Which I was like, all right, well, let's see what this kid has. In a 2-minute drill here trying to get down the field. Nope, we fumble the ball, and then we never see the ball again. I mean, it was just that type of game. Couldn't evaluate in any way, shape, or form.
They will evaluate them. Obviously you had guys making mistakes, as we've talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Blocking-wise, heck, wasn't terrible, but that penalty, it's not good. And, you can't put yourself in a hole, especially when you have a limited amount of talent.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see how they approach next week, the game against Atlanta, because, ideally you want to see the starters play at least a half. But, at the same token, you don't want to see somebody get hurt 2 weeks before the start of the season.
Exactly.
But, I really feel that, they need work, as a unit, both units, both sides of the football. So, with that being said, it's going to be interesting. When do we play next week? Is it Friday night? Do you guys know? It's Friday night? Okay. Well, that's good. We'll get the game out of the way, and then they got 2 full weeks to, figure out what they're doing, as far as these receivers and people getting healthy and so on and so forth. Chris, you talked a little bit about Chris Bell, right? You said he dressed for the game,
Yep,
right?
He suited up. He didn't get any play time, but for the fact that
They just wanted him to go through the process of going through the ritual, but they didn't plan on playing him.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. How many practices has he had? 2? This week?
I'm not sure, but I know they said they didn't plan on playing him. They just brought him through that, so he would have the experience of, before a game and all the procedure and what have you.
That's cool. That's smart, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, it really is. It's smart, It's smart.
Yeah,
so let's
7:00 next Friday.
7:00 next Friday. Yeah, the season can't come fast enough, as far as I'm concerned. Like I said, I am not a fan of preseason. I never was, but my goodness, it's gotten to a point where
it's different.
Yeah, it's just completely different. You have no idea what one team is going to do and the other team is going to do. There's no, you usually saw teams play their starters a quarter, 1 week, and then they'd play maybe a half the following week, and then not play at all in week 3, and then, maybe, another quarter in week 4. Everybody did it differently, but they were mostly on the same page.
Correct.
At least for a quarter, you would see starters against starters, and it's just all over the place now. Everybody has a different approach, and it definitely affects the way, the outcomes of games and how you can evaluate them. It's very, very difficult.
Around the league, they do put more emphasis on those scrimmages than they do on the actual preseason games.
Right.
And I think that's really unfair to the season ticket holders, because I think they should have the ability to go to the stadium and watch the team play, the starters play. And, the people that went last night certainly didn't get that opportunity.
Oh, God. Well, Mike, if you're a season ticket holder, unfortunately, you have to pay for those. That's part of the package. Yep. And that's the problem to begin with. The fact that you have to pay for something like that, included in your package. It's terrible. And they have to pay for the game next week as well, right? You're basically paying for, 10 games. And you can't eliminate those. They should give you an option. Hey, if you want to go down, great. If you don't, or at least discount them. Say, listen, the 2 preseasons are going to be a 2-for-1 type of thing.
I just think, if you're not going to play your team, your starters, then they shouldn't have to pay for those tickets. That's just my opinion.
My opinion is this, Mike, and this is the way they should approach it. With your package, with your season ticket package, they should just include the preseason games, period. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the NFL is making a ton of money. It's not going to kill them to basically get people in the stands, you know, for preseason games. They're still going to make money off of concessions and parking and so on and so forth, you know, but the ticket should come free with the package, especially when there's only one game. I mean, that's the way they should do it. I mean, at this point, with the expense that NFL games are, I mean, they should basically just include the preseason games. Sometimes it's only one. So, I mean, you know, include it in the package. Don't force people to pay $250, right? Which is basically an average ticket, a decent ticket at that stadium right now.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what you're paying for. I mean, you know, something like that last night, that's horrible. It's like a total ripoff. It's ridiculous, but it is what it is. It's all about money, Mike. So, you know, it's not going to change. You know, the NFL, you know, is all about money. It's just that simple. I mean, that's obvious with the betting, you know, the commercials for, you know, DraftKings and everything else.
They will do
every 5
anything they
minutes.
can to make a profit.
Absolutely. Like, they're not making enough, but we love the game. And people love the game, and they're taking advantage of it. We had a whole conversation, me and you, about all the networks that they sign contracts with that cost us more money, and they're getting paid more money from each of these networks. I mean, it's, you know, it's
you
a
buy
joke.
Sunday ticket and you expect to get all of the NFL games, and you don't. You know. So that's a little bit unfair as well, but it is what it is. Like you said, you know, there's nothing we can do about it. But eventually, you know, if they keep down this road, people are going to turn away. Yeah,
I mean, I'd love to agree with you, Mike, but football is, you know, forget it. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger in the world. You know, you know, that's what they're doing. You know, they're sending games overseas. That's another thing that's
they're
totally
serious about expansion over there. They're talking about adding possibly 2 teams in London, for example.
Yeah. I mean, God, I mean, it's bad enough when you go East Coast to West Coast. You know, you start throwing, you know, games overseas in, which is another thing I hate. I understand it to an extent, but I just hate it, especially when our team goes overseas. You know, I mean, I just, you know, take home games away. And that's another thing. You know, you're taking a game away from one of the teams. You know, I mean, granted, they're labeled a home team, but technically it's not a home game. You know, so you're taking, you know, a home game away from, you know, from your NFL team off the schedule.
What they're eventually going to do is have a division overseas.
Yeah. I mean, that means a lot of flying and a lot of traveling.
Yeah.
And that means the level of play decreases as far as I'm concerned, you know.
All right, what we're going to do is we're going to take a step back for just a couple minutes, and we'll be right back.
What would you do if your online store converted 36% more shoppers? You could take 36% more vacation.
Another pina colada? Yes, please.
Open a new retail location with 36% more square feet.
Fantastic.
Hire 36% more help.
You're hired and you're hired.
Shopify has the world's best converting checkout, up to 36% better than other e-commerce platforms. What you do with those extra sales is up to you. Switch to Shopify today at shopify.com/listen and get a $1 trial. Shopify.com/listen.
Yeah,
it's just hard.
It takes a toll on the players if it's a long trip.
Absolutely, it takes a toll on me. I fly to St. Louis on Saturday last week, and I'm like, it's not even a long flight. It's an hour and a half, and it's the flying back and forth. I flew back on Sunday, and I felt like pure crap when I came back. I mean, when you're traveling that many hours. There's something called jet lag. There's a lot of different things that are involved, and I think it affects the the game itself, the games itself. It's just, I hate being negative, but there's a lot of things that I just don't like about what the NFL is doing, and it's all based around money. It's simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, look, you can't blame the owners for wanting to make a profit and wanting to, bank cash. I mean, that's what they do. That's how they were able to buy the team. But I think they have to look at, are they being fair to the fans? And, with the TV packages everywhere, you don't even know who's playing when and where, and it never used to be like that. And, so it is what it is. We just have to learn to deal with it or eventually turn away. Chris, what are your thoughts on it?
I think it's definitely going to benefit us this year because San Francisco is playing, I think, Seattle in the first game ever in Australia. And then we come back and play them week 2 in San Francisco, which I'll be at that game. So hopefully that jet lag and all that other stuff that Lou just talked about rules in our favor and we get a nice win week 2. But overall, I don't like it. I mean, Goodell came out and said that, again, the other day that, he's planning on having a franchise in another country, but if it ain't somewhere like Mexico or somewhere that's actually close, I don't see that working. Like, it's just not, and Mexico's not really the safest place, to have a team and stuff right now, but it's just, I don't like it. I mean, I get that they're trying to grow the game, and I see, like, when we play in Germany or when we play in Spain last year, like, those people in other countries really love football, American football, and I think it's good for the game, but like you guys just said, for the quality of the actual games, it hasn't been good. Every game because I'm over here on the West Coast, every game last year that I woke up at 5 a.m. to watch or 6 a.m. to watch, it was just shit. Like, I was already, passing out at halftime because it's a 6-3 game or, it's just the quality of the games aren't good. The fields, are subpar, especially in that Brazil game to open up the season last year when Jordan Love got hurt. The field was all messed up. It's a money thing, I mean, the NFL has become one of the most, valued not franchises, but leagues, and it's unfortunately they will sacrifice the quality of play and all this other stuff for some extra money. And that's exactly why, the fans. And that's exactly why, we have to have 8 different subscriptions to watch every game because some games are on Netflix, some games are on Amazon. They're doing Peacock now. It's just, it's all about the money for Goodell and the rest of these owners of the franchises. So
Fox, CBS, NBC, and just keep this in mind as well, guys. I mean, this is something that we didn't even touch. The players, you're going to water down. If you add more teams, okay, and Mike, you talk about this consistently about depth. I mean, how do you think it's going to affect the depth on your football team if you add more franchises to the NFL? There's not going to be a lot of depth.
Well, we've seen them do it before, right? And right now you've got a league where you don't have 32 quality starting quarterbacks, and you don't have 32 quality left tackles. There are positions you just can't fill with what you need to fill them with.
That's across the board. Mike, you could take any position. Safeties, there's teams that don't have, good linebacking, good defensive line. I mean, you can take any position and look at it and see, like, my God, I mean,
But
look
part
at
of
this.
that is salary cap related. I'm talking, the people just aren't out there to sign.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. The league is going to be watered down even more so because you're not going to get the quality players necessary. And if you do have decent backups, they're going to be snatched. They're going to be starting for somebody. A guy that maybe would be one of your better backups is now going to become a starter on one of these franchise teams. Everybody does scouting. Everybody evaluates these players, so they know, who's got what. And, if they're willing to pay a guy that's going to be a backup and he's going to be a starter somewhere else, then he's gone. He's flying the coop without a question of a doubt. So, you got that aspect of it too. So the game of football is a fantastic it's an enjoyable thing to watch. The world, it's not only our country, but it's the world now, just loves the game of football. I think it's the most popular thing in the world collectively. I think
soccer might
be. Nothing's triumphing soccer, but aside from soccer, I think that football's making a nice push. But
it is. It's relatively new in a lot of countries, but only because it's not played there. I mean, soccer is everywhere. It's in every single country. So that's where the popularity lies.
Right.
You don't necessarily, obviously you don't have football teams in these countries. If you did, I can assure you that it would rival soccer without a question.
Louis, we're going to find out.
Yeah, I guess, right? The fans are fanatical about American football. So, they go crazy over soccer as well. But it's something that, nothing's going to go backwards at this point, guys. It's something that we have to accept. It's just going to keep going forward, and it's going to get bigger and bigger, and there's going to be changes every single year that we're not going to like. And, unfortunately, it is what it is. At least, Mike, we got to see football when it was, a grinded out type of killing each other, gladiators, true gladiators on the field. We got to watch years of that.
Yep.
The game's developing into something completely different in a lot of different ways that we just talked about. So anyway,
and the other thing I would say is the stadiums now. They're palaces. They're
Coliseums.
Yeah, when they used to play, in Indianapolis or Chicago, they were just muddy games. They were dirty games, and it was fun. It was fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But the elements are fun to watch. You had more snow games than you do now, right? Minnesota has a dome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, it is what it is, but I'm not complaining, really. I understand why they did what they did. Customers want to go to a nice stadium, but it was fun while it lasted, and it added a little bit of excitement to the game because those stadiums had personalities. These new, huge, humongous stadiums don't.
Yep, and that's one thing that Buffalo's dealing with right now, supposedly, too, with their new stadium. And it's not even just have to do with the old stadium, but supposedly a lot of the fans are getting priced out pretty much is what I'm trying to say. Because, they built a stadium that's, multi millions of dollars, and they got to make that back somehow. So I've talked to a couple Bills fans that I know that are living in upstate New York, and, they said that that's one of their fears is that, it's not going to be that same environment that the old Highmark Stadium was,
right.
Which I don't care because it benefits us, and, we hate the Bills. But, as more stuff happens like that, and even if you look at the situation over in Chicago to where, they wanted to build a new stadium in downtown Chicago. Pretty much the government officials were like, no, we don't want to do that. So now they just passed something to where this new stadium is going to be built in Indiana. But they're not changing the name from the Chicago Bears to the Indiana Bears, but that's where their new stadium's going to be. So, and it's going to be the same type of thing.
Crazy.
You taking all the stuff that, the people in Chicago love about Soldier Field, and, they obviously would like a newer stadium, but if it has to come at the cost of them moving to Indiana, I'm pretty sure 99.9% of Bears fans are not happy with that. But goes back to the money thing. So, it is
terrible.
What it is.
Yeah,
well, we've seen plenty of teams have to move or choose to move, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
So
Raiders. It's a travesty that the Raiders are not in Oakland anymore.
Yeah.
Travesty. Those fans were so passionate, up to Charger fans, similar, I mean,
Cardinal fans,
Yeah. I mean, it's bad. It really is. It sucks. But it is what it is. So, back to the Dolphins.
All right, guys, we're going to break for a few moments, and we'll be right back.
You didn't start a business just to keep the lights on. You're here to sell more today than yesterday. You're here to win. Lucky for you, Shopify built the best converting checkout on the planet. Like the just one tapping, ridiculously fast acting, sky-high sales stacking, champion of checkouts. That's the good stuff right there. So if your business is in it to win it, win with Shopify. Start your free trial today at shopify.com/win.
Some interesting stuff, I'll touch on real quick if you guys are okay with that.
Sure.
The depth chart, they've got Rodriguez penciled in right now as a starter. There's no or anymore. Basically it's become Jacob. He's, they've got him penciled in. And they had Trey Moore penciled in as well. Unfortunately, he got hurt, and hopefully it's not anything extreme. Both him and Ollie Gordon, the one thing we came out of this game with are 2 injuries to 2 guys that I think are going to be important to this team, so hopefully they're not serious, and they're able to play. Chris, you touched on, or they're able to come back for the start of the season. You touched on Coleman's catch. That was a great play, the opportunity that he had. He made the most of it. It was a great contested catch. Guy was holding him, like you mentioned. I mean, that was one of the few highlights of the game. Did you guys see Kyle Lewis play a lot yesterday?
Yeah, he was in there.
Okay, because I missed it. I had the volume down somewhat, so
I think he's wearing the number 40-something, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And they did just release a report a couple minutes ago that says rookie Trey Moore is set to miss some time after picking up the ankle injury. Okay. And then as far as Ollie Gordon, he was cleared to return, but the team chose to be cautious and hold him out for the rest of the game. So Ollie's
awesome.
Not too serious, and Trey Moore, they're saying, is going to miss some time. That could mean a few weeks, or it could mean a few months. I'm sure as the week progresses, we'll find out what exactly that timetable is going to be for him. But that's somebody else that was penciled in as a starter.
Yep.
So it's kind of sucked because he was one of the guys that I was looking forward to watching play last night, and he got hurt on the first series. So hopefully it's not too serious. Hopefully he sprained the ankle or something, and there's no ligament damage or anything. It scared me because when they panned to him, he couldn't put any type of weight on that. So when you see that, you always think the worst. But hopefully it's just a high ankle sprain or something.
He wears number 17.
Yeah.
Which Trey is crazy. Yeah. I mean, that used to be a quarterback number.
Yeah.
Wide receivers, yeah. Now it's a linebacker. I mean, that's another thing.
We're doing a lot of used to be's. Maybe we shouldn't, but it's hard not to.
It is. I mean, when you got linebackers with number 17, I mean, it's just so crazy. I mean, it used to be like in the 50s, all your linebackers,
Yeah. When you saw the number, you knew what position they played. Now it's
now it's like, wait a minute, is that a receiver? That's tackling the quarterback? What the hell's going on out there, number 17?
Right. I know you're not asking that.
God. Well, I am.
Uh-huh.
It's just weird to look at. That's all I'm saying.
If you want to find positives from last night, I think the positive is a lot of young kids got some experience. That's it. That's about the only positive I can pull from the game.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that once, and that was enough, Mike.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, when you have 100 total yards on offense and you gave up around 400 yards on defense, there's not a lot
to grab.
50 yards passing throughout a full game. I mean, I don't care if it's the preseason or not. I mean, It was
ridiculous.
Just ugly. I don't even know how I sat through the whole thing, but I did. I mean, I was at
we
work,
all did.
So I wasn't, fully watching every single play, but I definitely kept it on and was watching enough to just be like, what the hell is this?
Play. You didn't miss anything.
Well,
yeah. A lot of penalties too, which Hafley talked about after the game that, he said is unacceptable and, he's not going to have that type of shit. But I mean, we had 8 penalties compared to the Giants 4. So that's another battle you don't like to see us lose there.
True.
And, and that's one thing
a couple of fumbles.
Yep. A couple turnovers is not good. But I mean, with Hafley, one of the main things I said I want to see change between him and, the way McDaniel went about is kind of getting back to that Flores type where, we didn't have a lot of penalties. And if we did, it was holding, it was, not a lot of mental, like stupid pre-snap penalties. So, I'm sure Hafley's going to be ripping them a new one in that film study, whether it's today or tomorrow, whenever they go back. But yeah, he was not happy about that.
That's that Chris, that goes back to my thought on the starters playing at least a half next week, so we can work on the fact that we're not going to get a lot of those stupid penalties that put us in a hole. I mean, they need to work together as a unit in a football game. And I have to make a confession. I didn't watch the whole game after after Taj fumbled. I shut it off, so I didn't see the last couple plays.
Yeah,
no, I'm just kidding. They just sat on it, right? But with all that being said, I just feel that they should maybe get at least a couple of series next week. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I think a quarter is probably more realistic. I don't see them playing a whole half. I mean, maybe they will, but I don't see it. I mean, we're already, we can't afford any injuries on either side of the ball, especially on that offensive line and the receiver room, and it's just. And on the defensive side, it's even, I mean, Kenneth Grant's out right now. Zach Sealer's out. I mean, I'm hoping that both of those guys, or at least Sealer, will be back by week 1. Because if not, the Raiders got that new formed offensive line. They got a hell of a running back there. And, I mean, even if Kirk Cousins is at quarterback, that's a team with Brock Bowers at tight end.
I was going to say, who's going to cover Bowers?
Yeah, I mean, that I'm not too worried about.
Kyle Lewis, if he's healthy.
Well, I think it'll be Jacob Rodriguez. I mean, he's a pretty good coverage linebacker. I think he's going to help. And, I think the last takeaway from the game last night was the fact that Dante Trader was playing pretty late in that game, and I was I'm just like maybe
he
he's
came
not
in
as
late,
much of a lock. I don't think he's as much of a lock as I thought he was for one of those safety positions, which even has me a little bit more cautious, and just I don't feel good about it.
Somebody started over him, and then he came in, I think, after the fact, or I saw him on the field late too. But
over him or something, I don't know.
Getting back, Chris, to the injury, you talked about you don't want guys getting hurt and so on and so forth. But I'm always of the thought that if you're not game ready, and you go out in week 1 and you're going on, at 120 miles an hour when you haven't done it at all for a month. You've done some scrimmaging and stuff like that. I don't think it's beneficial in that aspect either. Yeah. I mean, you got to really balance it, so to speak. I feel you got to go out there. And I mean, I've been watching, Mike, you've been watching preseason football and games for years. And we went through preseason after preseason. And there was always a minimal amount of, a guy getting hurt and being out for any length of time. It wasn't anything. And they would play a half. They would play a quarter, a couple of the other games, and they were playing 4 preseason games. You never saw an abundance of injuries. Now you go into week 1 and these guys aren't, game ready. And, all of a sudden guys are pulling hamstrings and, hurting themselves, in week 1. So, I think that you have to go out there, you have to play as a unit. you have to get them at least a quarter or maybe a little bit more, depending on how well they're playing as a unit on either side of the football. And, get a taste of that, especially with the amount of young guys that we have. A guy like Jacob Rodriguez, as you mentioned, Proctor, all of those guys. I think they really need to be in there in that final week and say, okay, guys, listen, this is it. This is the tune-up for the season in 2 weeks. So, let's go out there and kick some ass and, play at a high level and, get you on and off the field healthy. That I hope that's the way they're going to approach it.
Well, that's the way you'd approach it, and that's the way I'd approach it. I don't know how they're going to, but we'll see.
Yep.
I do think they should give the starters some playing time. I honestly do. But again, you are concerned about injuries, whether they happen or not. You got to take your chances,
right?
Because they need to play together, as you
need
mentioned.
Reps.
The offensive line, particularly. A little bit of communication is going to help them down the road.
Yeah.
So. Anyway, that's about all I got, guys. Anybody have anything else?
Yeah, I got one more interesting thing, and it's not really interesting, and you guys probably aren't going to like it, but this is what ESPN's saying. So ESPN ranked every NFL's position group, and I'm going to just read out ours.
Oh yeah,
quick.
I saw that.
The quarterback room 27th, the running back room 8th, the wide receiver room 32nd. The tight end room, 32nd. The offensive line, 27th. Defensive line, 26th. The edge, 32nd. The linebacker, 7th, which is our highest. Cornerback room, 32nd. And safety, 32nd. Overall, 32nd.
Well, I think that's somewhat accurate. I mean, to be honest with you.
Accurate.
What'd they have the defensive line at, Chris? I'm sorry.
The defensive line was 26th, but that's like the interior because they ranked the edge as a whole different group.
Yeah,
on this.
That's what I meant. I meant to say the interior.
26th.
Yeah,
that's pretty accurate. Aside from Sealer, we got a bunch of guys who aren't proven, and even Sealer's coming off a down year. So
yeah,
I don't see why we'd be
I like
ranked
Phillips
any higher.
and Biggers.
I do too, but they haven't shown us really anything yet. And they've shown a little bit of flashes, but at the same time, like when they go up against these top tier offensive linemen, I just hope they don't get manhandled. And even like I said, week 1, Genty's running all over us. That's not going to be a good sign.
And where was the offensive line ranked?
27th, which that could be
that's a little high.
High? No, I think it's low, Mike.
I know what you're going to say.
If Proctor works out, you've got a solid.
Got 3 big ifs, but
I'm really worried about the right side of the line.
Yeah, exactly. Proctor's not really what we have to worry about. We have to worry about Jonah, and then we have to worry about whoever the hell's playing right tackle. Because if it's Charlie Heck, then
the heck with heck.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
well,
it. That's all I got.
And Jordan Phillips has only played 10 snaps all preseason.
Okay, that's interesting.
So, anyway.
Maybe they view him as a starter then.
Yeah, apparently.
Yep.
So, all right, guys. Thanks for joining me this morning. Thanks for listening, everybody. Sorry for all the whining. And we'll be back next week. And until then, fins up.
Fins up.
Fins up, Dolphins.
And that's the end of another show. I want to thank the Believe Network for allowing us to join them this year, and the Dolphins Talk Network, who we've been a part of for many years. I want to thank both of these outfits. They're exceptional people, and we're proud and honored just to be a part of it. Until next time, take care.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.